Hello and welcome to Junkwall Media, a video series that's part review, part retrospective, but mostly just stuff. How old is the Millennium Falcon? The short answer is about 94 years old by the events of The Force Awakens. There, that was easy. Thanks for watching. But if you're in the mood for story time, we'll break down her history starting from her construction all the way up to her most recent appearance. Naturally, this will be mostly accounts found in the publications from the Star Wars Expanded Universe, which has been dismissed from canon after Disney purchased Lucasfilm. So all of this is subject to change probably when the Han Solo movie comes out. Just a word of warning, the following is convoluted and feels like glorified fanfiction, but this is what was published. However, if I get anything wrong, feel free to let me know in the comments. In any case, this is the history of the Millennium Falcon. Wait, first things first, let's establish the numbering of years. The Battle of Yavin, where the first Death Star was destroyed, is year 0. Anything prior to that is before the Battle of Yavin, or BBY. Anything after the first Death Star is destroyed is after the Battle of Yavin, or ABY, not to be confused with BB-8. Okay, on we go. The Millennium Falcon is a YT-1300 light freighter constructed by the Carillion Engineering Corporation in 60 BBY. She was just one of many constructed in her class. In Attack of the Clones, you can see other YT-1300s parked here. Her shape and size doesn't seem appropriate for a cargo vessel, but in this concept art from The Force Awakens, it suggests that she's actually designed to push her cargo. This accounts for why she's classified as a freighter, yet doesn't really have any large cargo bays. She was first named Corel's Pride, but quickly developed the reputation for being swift yet unreliable. This began her long history of her owners making frequent makeshift repairs and modifications. She would be renamed Fickle Flyer and later Meadle's Misery. After 12 years as a legitimate cargo vessel, she was sold to sibling smugglers Dova and Cal Brigger in 48 BBY. They renamed her Hardwired. Later, the siblings crossed up a guild of smugglers. They were captured and Dova was executed. Cal was able to escape with the Hardwired and renamed the ship Wayward Son. Cal would die in 44 BBY and the Wayward Son would pass through several owners. Along the way, she would be renamed Stellar Envoy. In 29 BBY, the Stellar Envoy was purchased by the Republic Group, a covert operation that opposed Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. The Republic Group would hold ownership of the Stellar Envoy over the next 10 years. They used her to ferry passengers during the Clone War, which occurred between 22 and 19 BBY. One such passenger was a bomber pilot who had a helmet with an opaque blast shield. The blast shield was opaque to protect his eyes from the bright flashes from explosions during his bombing runs. When he departed the Stellar Envoy, he forgot his helmet aboard. This helmet with the opaque blast shield would remain on board for the next 2 decades, until Obi-Wan Kenobi fished her out for Luke Skywalker's lightsaber training. In Revenge of the Sith, which occurred in 19 BBY, the Stellar Envoy can be briefly seen docking at Coruscant. Around 18 BBY, the Stellar Envoy was essentially destroyed from a collision with a bulk freighter, and she was sent to the scrapyard. Eventually, some smugglers would salvage and rebuild her for her second life as a pirate vessel. During this portion of her existence, she was called Second Chance. Though during a botched smuggling job, she was captured and impounded by the Empire for the next couple years. In 10 BBY, she was stolen from the impound yard and wound up with the Rebel Alliance. She would be briefly named Gone to Pieces, before being renamed the Millennium Falcon because of her speed. This name was inspired by a swift flying creature named the Bat Falcon. In 9 BBY, she was to be in a rebel strike, but her pilot got cold feet and bailed, taking the Millennium Falcon with him.
So long, suckers.
In his remorse, he donated the ship to a doctor who would later sell her to a traveling circus, and she would be passed around a few more times in the intervening years.
What? Babe!
I will text you. Where'd you get that sweet space cape, brother?
In 5 BBY, she was owned by a notorious gambler named 6 True V. In a battle between the Imperials and insurgents, True V wagered with some Hutts that 51 fighters would be destroyed in total. True V lost the bet and went on the run after he couldn't pay his debts. Later, he entered a sabacc tournament. Sabacc is a poker-like card game. Anyway, he entered the tournament to win the credits to pay back the Hutts. It didn't work out as planned, and the Millennium Falcon was won by Lando Calrissian. In 2 BBY, at another sabacc tournament, the finals came down between Lando Calrissian and Han Solo. Calrissian raised the ante by throwing in any ship on the lot. Solo won, and of all the ships available, he chose Lando Calrissian's personal ship because, he's Han Solo. This brings us up to year 0, and the events of the original trilogy. The Falcon would assist in blowing up the first Death Star. In 3 ABY, Han Solo was frozen in carbonite and Lando Calrissian temporarily took back ownership of the Falcon. In 4 ABY, they'd blow up another Death Star and she'd be returned to Han Solo. In 24 ABY, after Han Solo and Leia separate following their son's turn to the dark side, she was stolen. She would pass through several more owners before ending up unused in a junkyard on Jakku, under the ownership of Unkar Plutt. She re-emerges when BB-8, Finn, and Rey flee from the First Order. The Millennium Falcon now has a rectangular dish. Recall this ship from the opening scene of A New Hope? It looks like the Falcon's new rectangular dish was repaired with Rebel Alliance spare parts. Later that day, Han Solo repossesses the Millennium Falcon. When he's killed by Kylo Ren, Chewbacca assumes ownership. So she was constructed in 60 BBY, and The Force Awakens occurs in 34 ABY, which makes her about 94 years old. So there you have it, a condensed telling of the history of the Millennium Falcon. If you want to stay in the loop for future videos, you've got options right here. I'll catch you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching, you fuzzballs.